Guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be painting some motorcycle parts. Front forks, the upper lower triple tree, couple clamps, and 2 engine side covers. Now, it's all just going to be gloss black, but we're going to use base coat, clear coat. Normally I would like to use single stage, but the side covers for the motor are going to get a vinyl decal stuck to them. So basically, I'm going to start with putting down a very light coat of epoxy primer because we have bare aluminum showing on some of the parts. So you want to put down an epoxy primer first. It's going to help bond your material to the aluminum. You can't just put the base coat right on the aluminum. It's not going to work. So we're going to use a little bit of this MP170 Omni brand. It mixes 2 to 1. 2 parts epoxy primer, 1 part hardener, and then I'm going to add probably 25% reducer just to make it thin. And we're going to put a light coat on everything. And then we're going to put a couple coats of black base coat, let it dry for an hour, and then I'm going to come back. We're going to put our decals on the side covers, and then I'm going to clear over top of the decal and everything all at once, because the reason why we are going to clear coat over the decals is the side cover is right where your feet go, and your boots or whatever you're wearing is going to rub on the side of that cover, and if the vinyl decals on top of the clear, it's just going to rub it off. So we're going to actually encase it underneath the clear with a good couple layers of clear so that it's durable and it should be good to last. So I have everything set up out here. I do have the heater running because these parts are getting picked up today at 5 o'clock, and it's about 9 in the morning right now. So I want to get these things warm because they are aluminum. Aluminum likes to stay colder for a longer period of time. So what I'm doing is I'm warming it up. You see these parts are swaying around. That's the air movement in the spray booth, because these parts are really light because they're just like a cast aluminum. The air movement in the spray booth makes them sway around a little bit. But anyways, so we're going to go ahead and get, we're going to wax and grease remover these first. Make sure we don't have any wax and grease on these parts. They look like they were pretty clean, but we'll just go over them to make sure. So then I have some pictures I have to go off of on where the vinyl decals go on these side covers. What I'll probably do is stick the vinyl decal on, send the pictures over to the guy, have him look at it, make sure that they are corrected where he wants them, because if I go ahead and clear over it, he doesn't like where they are, then I got to sand everything down and start over. So I'd rather not do that. So, all right, I'm going to grab some wax and grease remover here. Basically what I always use. I actually need to fill this container up. You can buy these containers on Amazon. It's just a pump sprayer, but it's got to be for chemical. Can't get one that's for water because it won't work. And this is the brand I use, Prepsol. Once again, I think it's on Amazon. I get it from cheaper than anybody else. I don't know that I don't think I'm going to use the window cleaner. Maybe I will. I might use the window cleaner as well. I do like how the window cleaner takes off any little bit of residue that's left over from wiping it with this. So yeah, you know, I'm going to go ahead and use the window cleaner. It's nice to double wipe everything. It really makes a big difference. And I have a tack rag here that's not perfectly clean. It's not bad either. It'll be just fine for these parts. I'm fighting a cold, so I might cough here and there. But okay, let me get some lint-free towels. We're gonna go out there and wipe this stuff down real quick. Second reason I'm running the heater. We've had extreme humidity here. So people always say when it's real humid you can't paint. Well, that's not necessarily true. If you have a way to dry that air, you know, as you're painting, you're not going to have a problem. Dry heat is going to take the humidity out of the air. So long as you can deal with the heat, in the spray booth when it's 80 degrees outside or more, you can totally paint when it's humid out if you have a way to dry the air. I don't think a dehumidifier would work because it wouldn't dry the air quick enough. So I'm forcing heat into the spray booth at a pretty rapid rate. So it's, you know, it's drying the air a lot better than like a dehumidifier wouldn't work in this situation, because you'd be replacing the air so quickly in the spray booth that I don't think that that could even keep up with it. So basically I'm just going to pump this up. I'm really going to saturate these down. I want to let them sit for a minute to make sure I pull any of the grease out of the parts. Now when I primered these parts, I spot primered them. I didn't have any fish eyes or anything like that, so I'm fairly confident that they're pretty clean. So yeah, I want to really soak these down. Let them drip on the floor. It's not going to hurt anything. All it's going to do is pull the dirt out of the pores and the scratch sanding marks and all that stuff. And basically I'll just start back at the beginning here and start wiping these down. These parts off. So, knowing that I already blew these parts off and they felt pretty dust free, by using this and spraying a lot on there, look at all the, I don't know if you can see it, but let me see if I can get a focus on it. You can actually see dust particles sitting on top of the surface. I can't get it to focus, but believe me, you can see dust particles on the surface of that part. So what I'm going to do now is wipe all these down, blow them off. Then I'm going to wipe them down with the window cleaner, and then at that point we're ready to put the epoxy primer on. Now it's good to blow these off between washings, because if you have any residue or wet cleaner left and you go to spray over it, the material's not going to stick because it's going to stick to that wetness rather than the material. So I know it here is wet. See it spraying out of here. Gloves on, like I don't have gloves on right now, but I wipe my hands down with wax and grease remover, so I've taken all the wax or all the grease and stuff off of my hands right now. I am going to put a pair of gloves on, I just didn't do it yet. So now I'm going to use my spray way window cleaner, do the same thing again. Now this you have to work a little quicker because this will dry on you faster than the wax and grease remover will. So I'll let this set for, I don't know, 20-30 seconds at the most, and then we'll wipe it down. Right now the foam is kind of drawing any sort of sanding debris, leftover grease or anything like that out of the surface and bringing it to the top. that to the rest of these parts, and then we'll be ready to put on some epoxy primer, and then I'll tack rag it right before I put on the epoxy primer, and then after that, 15-20 minutes after the epoxy primer is on, we'll put on the black. Like I said, I'm gonna let it set for an hour or so. Probably gonna go run around and do some things that I need to take care of, come back, and then I can put the decals on, and then we can clear it. Probably only use 2, maybe 3 coats of clear, and then we'll bake it at 140 degrees for 30 minutes. That's what this clear requires. And then at that point, once it's cooled down, it can be handled and picked up. So I should have plenty of time before 5 o'clock. Even if these parts are finished by noon and baked, that gives it 5 hours to cool before they get picked up. If you guys are wondering what spray gun I've been using, this is a cheap spray gun. It's a Aero Pro A610 from Amazon. They're about 80 bucks. This, I think, is modeled after a Segola, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I've had really good success with this. I really like the way this sprays. I like the spray pattern of it. I actually like it so much that I bought 3 more up there. Okay, I have 3 SATA guns. I have a 2000 and 2 3000 SATAs right here. So these are all SATAs, okay? These are probably 20 to 25 years old, probably the SATA 2000. They still work. But I noticed that the spray pattern is not as good as I think as it once was, or these newer style guns are just doing a better job spraying. So I've been kind of stepping away from these. They probably could use a really good rebuild. I do have a Black Widow. I don't really care for that gun. I don't know why people like that. Maybe I just haven't gave it enough try, but I don't really think I like it. Now these here are just cheap guns. Okay, this is just a cheap touch-up gun from Harbor Freight. This came in a kit with this one right here. And this one I use for primer because this has a 2.0 tip. And then this is a $12 gun from Harbor Freight, which I use for primer. And then this is just a gun I'll use for, you know, just junk. Like, let's say I'm putting some varnish on some wood or something like that. I'll use this gun here for that. This is a Spectrum gun from Harbor Freight. So I do have, you know, SATAs and stuff like that, but to be honest with you, the way these new ones are working, it's almost not really worth even messing with them anymore. They are old. I mean, I can't even imagine how many things they've painted over the years, but like I said, I'm having great luck with these $80 guns from Amazon, which surprises me, you know what I mean? Usually you don't get that kind of luck out of something cheap. But I figure for as cheap as they are, and as well as I'm liking the way that they're working, I bought a couple more because why not? For the price, you know, why not? In a year, if it's a piece of junk, I'll throw it in the garbage and open up a new one. That's how I look at it. You know, I don't know that I want to go out and spend $1,000, $1,500 on a spray gun anymore. I don't really know that it's worth it. Not with these other cheaper guns coming out now that are spraying, I think, damn close to as good. Now, I usually spray with this gun between 28 and 32 PSI. So I'll probably be spraying at about 28 PSI today. These are smaller parts. I really don't think I need to go any higher than that. But, so I'm gonna mix up this epoxy primer here. I have my little cup out because we don't need a lot. We don't have a lot of parts out there. We just need to put 1 light coat on everything. So I'm just going to take this up to the highest point. You got to get the hardener out. And then I'm going to put a little bit of reducer in it, and then I'm going to get this mixed up. We're going to go out there, tack rag everything off, and put a coat of sealer on. Epoxy primer, whatever you want to call it. Another thing on those spray guns, they come with 3 tips. 3 caps with the needles and everything. They come with a 1.3, a 1.5, and a 1.7. I use 1.3 for painting. I use it for usually for the base, the sealer, the clear, everything. I use a 1.3. Normally what I'll do is I'll have multiple guns. One I just dedicate to clear and one I just dedicate to color, but I've been using this for both. I've been running it through my wash cabinet and I haven't had any issues. Even on the white dually I just painted, I didn't have any sort of like metal flake that was a different color or anything like that coming out of the gun. So kind of just going to keep sticking with one gun for now. Okay, you can see how nice this sprays and how it just puts a nice, smooth, thin mist on everything. Just works really well. Now, because I put this down, now this is what's adhering to the bare aluminum. There was a few little spots of some body work that I did that went to bare body work once I sanded the primer down. So this is the greatest thing you could put down to really seal everything up and get it ready for color. So now I'm going to mix up black base coat in a couple minutes, and then we will, in about 15-20 minutes, we'll go out there and put the base on. Probably only going to take 2 coats of black to cover that stuff. It should cover real quick. Another thing, if you're wondering, why don't I have, let me put this in the gun washing cabinet real quick. You're wondering probably why I don't have a filter, an air separator on my spray gun. That's a good question. Do I recommend using them, especially if you're painting at home? Yes, definitely. Unless you have a really good air filtration system. So this is normally what you'll see on the bottom of a spray gun. What this does is it dries the air coming from the line. So once the air comes in from the line, it dries in here. I don't know exactly what's in here. I've actually, in 25 years, have never busted one of these open to look. I probably should, just to see what's in there. I don't know if it's like paper. I don't hear stuff rattling around, so my guess would be it's some sort of like a paper material. But what it does is it helps dry the air coming into the gun so that when it goes into the gun, it's not wet. If you're spraying with a lot of moisture in your hose, it's literally going to drip out of your gun and onto your paint job and screw your paint up. my spray booth and mixing room are all on this water separator down here, okay? So what that does is that acts like kind of like an air conditioner. There's coolant in there, and what it does is the air comes in, it dries the air. There's actually a discharge hose that goes out of here, out of this into a drain, and what that does is it, just like a home air conditioner, if it's really hot out and you're running the air conditioner at home and you go in your basement or your utility room, wherever your central air unit comes into your furnace, you're going to hear and see, depending on what kind of pipe you have, you're going to have a discharge pipe coming out of that air conditioner. It's going to be dripping water. It's drying the air. It's taking the moisture out of the air, and that's exactly what this is doing. So by running this, I'm not running this in the whole shop. I have regular air filters on my lines out there, but just the spray booth and the mixing room are running off of this. So it's giving me nice dry air for what I'm doing in here. I don't want to overwork this unit and always have it running, so I only switch it on when I'm in here using it. So let me get the black paint out and we'll get that mixed up. Okay, this is just a cheaper black base coat. I use it all the time. It works really well. So 1-to-1 mix, 1 part paint, 1 part reducer. I know sometimes on black and white paint, you want to under reduce it because, especially black usually tends to be a little bit of a thinner paint. And if you do a 1-to-1 reduction, it'll take longer to cover. So let's say you do 60% black and only 40% reducer on this black paint. It's going to cover quicker because there is more paint and less reducer. This stuff is fairly thick, but you can see it's running pretty good here. So it's definitely thinner than a colored paint or something like that. Now, the white paint I used on the dually was extremely thick, and I ended up over reducing that because it was just leaving a texture when I sprayed it. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix up a little cup of this again, and we'll go ahead and put the first coat of black on, and then we'll see how the first coat covers. I suspect it's gonna cover really well. Let me show you something else too. And I don't know why I always forget to do this. I hate pouring out of gallon containers. As you can see, it runs down the side of the container. You waste paint and you make a mess. Now, there is a way to do it and lessen the mess. And I've known this forever, and I always forget to do it. So you take tape, and you put a piece of tape here. You gotta push it down real good. Watch, it won't work. And you take a piece of tape like this, push it down real good. So now we have that V right there. That's inside of the lip of the can. So technically, I haven't done this in a while. When I pour it, it should, in theory, stay away from dripping off the edge of the can. I don't know if I could do it while you guys see it, maybe if I go this way. I mean, it helped. Still did it a little bit. Might need to bring that V in a little bit more. But you get the idea. It definitely lessens the amount of waste you have. So I'm going to go ahead and get this mixed up. Wait about another 10 minutes. We're going to go out there and put some black on it. I'm not going to tack cloth it. It should be just fine. And I'll be back. Okay, as you can see, it covered really well. One more coat. I don't know if there's enough in the gun, but we'll start with it. If I run out, I'll mix up some more. Okay, now I'm gonna let these dry for a while, and then we can put the decals on. They look real good. When you have parts hanging, you gotta really try to make sure you get the bottom sides of your parts. Can't tell you how many times I painted a hanging part and screwed up because I didn't get enough paint on the side that was facing the floor. So, something to really consider. The dually's coming along nicely. Sides are all blocked down and everything. All the doors and everything, they all look real good. Next step is I'm working on cutting out the windshield. Once that's out, I gotta fix a little bit of bubbling along the top, and I can sand down the roof, engine compartment, back wall, and start getting this thing ready for paint. It's not far off. As horrible as it looks right here, it's not far off from paint. So over here is the file that the guy gave me. It's actually a buddy of mine. That's most of my work comes from people that I know. So he gave me a file here of all the decals. These are for like the gas tank and stuff like that. Everything's going under the clear. So this is like an engine cover decal, which will keep that out. Here's another one right here. So there's two of them. So we really need to take my time and make sure that I put it in the right location. There's some original pictures here of motorcycle, which he doesn't have the side cover pictures in this file, but he did text them to me, so I do have them on my phone. So I'll kind of just reference them off my phone. But this is what the bike looks like. He even has pictures of the tank where the decals and everything are going to be placed on the tank. But what I might do at the tank is, after I put the base coat on, I might just have him come out and stick his own decals, because then they're where he wants it to be. If I do it and he's not happy with it, you know, and he has no issue doing that. So more than likely I'm gonna have him come out and stick the decals on this gas tank and stuff like that. So, all right, I'll be back in a little bit. We're gonna stick this vinyl on those side covers and get them cleared. Okay, I looked at the pictures, and the smaller one goes right here. The bigger one goes on that one. I actually spun that cover around, so when I go around that way, I can put it on straight. And I have this cover sitting how it sits on the motorcycle, so I can put it right through there. You gotta try to get this off. There's a little tiny trim ring of vinyl that goes around the outer edge. I gotta be real careful with. That one's on. And because these vinyl stickers are not real big, we're not going to sand them. We're going to clear right over them the way they are, and it'll be just fine. Mix up some clear and get these things cleared. I'm going to go turn the heater back on. I turned it off for a few minutes because it was getting real hot. So let me go turn that back on and we'll mix up some clear. Okay, this clear is a 4-to-1 mix. We're not going to put any reducer in the first coat. We're going to see how it lays down. I already tack cloth the parts off. I'm not going to wear gloves because I'm not going to be touching the parts. So we're going to do 4-to-1 mix with no reducer. And we're going to do 2 to 3 coats depending on how it lays down. Now the first coat's going to go on light to medium. We don't want to overdo the first coat. We want to try to just get it on there fairly smooth. It's okay if it's a little dry. It's not going to hurt anything. The second coat's going to take care of that. So there's our mix. That should be enough for the first coat. Once again, I'm only using a 1/3 tip, so it saves on material as well. And once again, we're going to spray at about 29 psi. So let me get this stirred up, and we'll get out there and get the first coat on, see what it looks like. Okay, first coat's down. I'm gonna let it set for a good 10 minutes. Let's see what the instructions say here, I forget. It says 2 to 3 medium coats. I don't think it says on here that between, okay, 5 to 10 minutes between coats. Oh wait, yeah. So we're gonna wait like a good 10 minutes and we'll go out there and put another coat on. Okay, it's been a few minutes. Let's go out there and take a look at it. After that, I'm going to end this video, bake these dry, and they'll be ready to pick up at 5, 6 o'clock area whenever he shows up. It's about 11:30 now, so it gives it more than enough time to dry. 140 degrees for 30 minutes, and then I'm just going to let the booth temperature just slowly go down on its own, and by that point it should be dry. So let's go take a look at it. See how nice and flat that laid out? No orange peel. Perfectly flat. One tiny little piece of dirt right there, but you're never going to see it. So far down on the bike. All the fork tubes turned out nice. Where I fixed down here where it had some rings for a different style boot, that all turned out good. So I'm very happy with these parts, turned out nice. There'll be more videos on this bike when I paint the rest of the parts. Probably in about a week or so, maybe 2 at the most, depending. I know that the paint and headlight's coming today, I believe. So once I have the paint and headlight, I can get to the body work on those. I got to do a little bit of fiberglass work on one of the covers. But other than that, that'll have two-tone white and red with some decals once again. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Going to Good Guys this weekend, so if anybody's interested in seeing some video of Columbus, Ohio Good Guys, let me know, send me a message. I'm gonna try to make a video down there. I know that they like to blast music, and the problem with that is I get copyrighted. So what I might have to do is kind of just take quick videos here and there. Maybe in some of the buildings where the nice cars are, we can take a longer video in those. I'm going to be driving the 73 Dodge Dart down there. Mustang's taken apart right now, so I'm not going to drive that. So I'll do some videos on that too as well. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And there'll probably be more videos coming out maybe later today. I'm actually going to be working on a wood project. So if that's something you're interested in watching, stay tuned and come back later. See you guys later. Thanks.